primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the bright center of the galaxy, I'm Grex Kondak, and you're listening to Core World News, your Holland news service providing in-depth coverage of all the latest stories from around the galaxy. Now, your news segment rundown for June 2nd, 2022. Old Ben's Hermit Hut. But first, this news.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Grex.
Yeah.
It's great to talk to you. It's great to talk to Grant. It's great to talk to Adam.
It's good to talk to you, Ben.
Yeah, we're covering the news, which is Obi Wan Kenobi episode 3. It's amazing, and we loved it. And there's a lot of things we will talk about. But first, there is bad news, and we want to get out of the way. Still, there's an incessant, ignorant, hateful, racist community harassing, people of color online. Still,
one of the best actors in the current Star Wars series we're watching. Moses Ingram, a talent that honestly we are lucky to have in a show like this, in a historic story like this, where her character is pulling a lot of the weight of this story, and she's doing it expertly. And for her to be, attacked online like this is despicable. And there's no place in the galaxy for people like this. So I don't know why they're here. I don't know why they're interested in this wonderful, wonderful franchise that just explores.
I don't understand what they get out of it.
All people, all outlooks. It's really
it's beyond reason. It's beyond
exactly.
It's just hate for hate's sake, and it just has no place in the Star Wars galaxy. It's not what it's the antithesis of racism is what they're trying to represent, and trying to represent in this IP. So go find another one. There's no place in Star Wars for racists. Go away.
Yeah, and if you're a person who agrees with any of that stuff, please turn this podcast off. Now we don't want your listening numbers. Please go somewhere else.
Unsubscribe.
Yep.
We don't do in any of the comments, text threads, anything that we do here. So we love everyone in our community, and we love everyone who does Star Wars and makes Star Wars. We're just happy to get what we have. And every show that we've had so far has been fantastic. And for this to arise during this show, which is, something we've been looking forward to for a long time, it hurt worse now than it's ever hurt before.
Yeah, it really does. And it's so disheartening that she had to, prior to this happening, she was told by Lucasfilm and by Disney, this is going to happen. And we have your back. She talked about the email she got, the being warned, you are going to get these things. Things are going to happen. And that's just, it's depressing and sickening, but it's the world we live in. But hopefully not for long. Hopefully, well, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, so Ewan McGregor addressed it 2 nights ago, I think, and had a great gif in his car for some reason. I don't know what he didn't want to wait until he was in a room.
Freaking Jedi. Wow.
He was like, I'll just do this right here. Let's go.
On Rodeo and recorded this message, and just standing up for Moses and standing with Moses and being like, I don't see you as Star Wars fans.
You're not Star Wars fans.
They are not Star Wars fans. And as far as we're concerned, they're not fans, and they're not welcome here at our show either. And it's it needs to be said, I think, by everyone. And I hope everyone comes out with a video and a comment like this, because it's the only way this is going to change. It's really the only way it's going to change.
To talk about that as a bit of not levity, but kind of when I saw that video, it rang to me like he was just going to Target and
I think he just
checked
dropped
his phone.
Groceries.
He got a text from Moses or something, or just saw it pop up. He's like, I'm going to talk about this right now.
Not on my watch.
Yeah. And he seemed, I mean, I don't want to speak for him. He spoke for himself, but he seemed so, again, he wasn't affected by it directly, but he seemed so upset by it. Just so
he's
bummed
an EP
out.
on this show. This show is, he worked super hard on this show. He knows how hard Moses worked on this show for just these armchair racist, scumbags out there in the world to attack her like that. It's just I'm upset. I'm just banging my head against the table here, being like, I can't fathom that there's these people are out there.
Nope. And here we are again.
And if I see it, I'm just going to call it out wherever it is. It's going to be
agreed. That's what we can all do, and that's what you can all do. Is if you see it, call it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about Star Wars, which we love, and how much we enjoy it, and how great this is going to be. And all the racists can go get
Old Ben Hermit.
Of course I know him. He's me.
Yeah, Anakin's haunting visage is definitely a good place to start, because we got angry Vader the entire episode, which I didn't think was coming. I really thought that was going to be penultimate final episode, big showdown, and sort of like a very brief sort of dialogue, between the two characters. I did not think we were going to get, let's chase each other through the gravel yard. Like I did not expect that. And
also, if you had Obi-Wan and Vader, and if I had to guess which one would have more lines of dialogue in that whole thing, I'd be like, well, Obi-Wan, of course. And Obi-Wan says like two things. It's all Vader.
I've been watching you, sister.
Sister.
He gets a lot. We get to go to his Castle Vader on Mustafar.
And he hits the classic sister line. Yeah, and I love it. It's my favorite Vader line. Sister.
I know.
A sister.
He sounds so good. I think they're utilizing that new voice sort of like voice software to match James Earl Jones's voice as well as James Earl Jones. As well as he's recording.
To enhance it. Yeah, because James Earl Jones is in the credits.
Yeah, and we've heard him
100% in the credits. Yeah, it's just they've used this tech with both Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones at this point, and they both characters just sound exactly like the original. Yeah.
It makes sense because we've heard James Earl Jones do Vader recently. Maybe it was like Rebels he did it in or something, right? And it was good, but it felt off, right? Like it felt like a little.
I think it was Rogue One was a little sort of
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if he said
aspirations, director.
Yeah,
that line felt a little didn't really match with the original trilogy, and I think they've just done some new tech fixes.
Yeah, but
to give James Earl Jones that boost.
So good. Yeah. It sounds like original. Like I was blown away because the second I saw, because I think I don't know if Grant you shared it or someone else did that. I saw he was credited, so I knew we were gonna get Vader speaking in this episode. But I was just like, I was like, I was afraid we were going to get kind of like, almost, but this was dead on Vader.
Every line I thought was very well constructed and perfectly organic to the character. Like there wasn't one line that kind of caught me off guard.
No.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Perfect Vader.
I think there's a lot of fun questions that are asked in the episode. And when he does have that talk with Reva, and he does know what she desires, it sounds like it's the mantle of Grand Inquisitor, but I got to think there's something else at play there. Like there's something else at play, and I'm interested to know what that is. I'm interested to know her relationship with Vader, and why she's able to kind of like jump past a few ranks and talk to him directly. And it seems like they're a more close knit bond. And but he's also threatening her in this episode as well, which is.
Well, she also had that really cocky line when she was talking to the fifth brother, where she's like, you can take the credit, but who's going to be standing beside him at the end. Which I'm like. That's a ballsy line, right? Yeah. Like that's. I was like, I watched that a couple times. Like that's something's going on there. There's more going on there than we know.
Right, like the dialogue is very straightforward and clean, but it's all shrouded in mystery. It's like each line, asks more questions than it answers, which is like very like classic, like original trilogy, really. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun because it's like there's something going on with Vader. Jenny was saying in this thing, she's like he doesn't like Vader doesn't want to kill Obi-Wan. He had his chances and didn't twice. No. In fact, I noticed second rewatch, he actually puts the flames out himself, like with the Force, extinguishes the flames so they can go fetch him.
Well, he shares his motivation in the episode where your pain has just begun. Like he's gonna. This is a long torture that experience that he's going to set up for Obi-Wan. So
that's the question I have. Is his plan just to torture and kill Obi-Wan?
Right.
Or is it an attempt to drive Obi-Wan to the dark side? Like the ultimate, ultimate revenge.
It kind of sprouts out of that. That's really interesting, tantalizing. I have to imagine keep him alive and show him, much like he had just like, what happens to most villains do when they capture the hero is sort of like, watch me as I devastate the galaxy. And you just have to kind of just sit behind, a view. and watch.
Yeah. And that's his whole motivation. Like he's going through that town. Torture. I think he knows exactly where Obi-Wan is, or pretty close to him. He's just
scene was so well
torturing just to get Obi-Wan out there, just knowing that's Obi-Wan's weakness.
Just the sort of cock that Vader gives, and like seeing where Obi-Wan is standing and how Obi-Wan kind of vanishes mysteriously. Like that whole scene was just perfectly executed and kind of great tension, great build-up in that scene. In terms of dragging that one person. Just the sound design of this episode. It's shrieking and the
upsettingly
shrill.
Good. I was listening to the second one with headphones on, and it was making me very uncomfortable.
Did you watch with subtitles, Adam?
I always watch with subtitles now.
Did you catch all the stormtrooper dialogue around when he does kind of ignite all the mining minerals, and they're like, we can't get around.
We can't get around.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around. It was like, it was very like,
I can't see anything. And I was like, okay, they're literally, all the audience logic is being, formulated.
Yeah. It's sometimes subtitles is rough for that, because a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be kind of like subtle is like up there on the screen, which I'm like, I don't need to see every line. Yeah. But that brings up an interesting point, because I'm like, Vader had already put out that fire with a force push 4 seconds later.
Why couldn't he do that again? Because
I think he made a choice. I think there's something about it that he wanted him to get away. I think there's part of this, like I think that part of it is that he's disappointed that Obi-Wan is so weak. Like he doesn't want to beat Obi-Wan in this way. Like I think he was almost like, part of it was just like, yeah, maybe I'll let him go and I'll find him again. Like I'm going to chase him down and maybe he'll get a little stronger or something. Like it just seemed weird to me that he was just like,
he wants the best.
No, I can do it.
You don't think there's still a part?
Best, this hermit. Or whatever.
I know he's full dark side, like yellow-eyed dark side right now, but like, do you think there's a part of him that actually doesn't like misses Obi-Wan, that still loves Obi-Wan?
I want to dig into this with you guys,
maybe
badly, because I feel like there's a big setup here where I think you hear Obi-Wan hearing Padme say there's still good in him. I don't want to say we've heard it once. I think we've heard it twice. At least once, yeah. This episode. What we know about the original trilogy is there's no redemption for Anakin in Obi-Wan's point of view, and so I think that's what we learn in this show. Is there's got to be some sort of reckoning with that line from Padme.
I think so too. I think Obi-Wan's gonna also kind of come and try to do. Grant, did you read the Darth Vader comic that came out this week?
I did not.
Okay, because I was wondering, because they reused that line in that comic as well. So I was wondering if maybe that's why you thought it was happening twice, because it was weird reading that and then seeing it used there. I want to say, when this series was first announced, I was very like, they should never meet, they should never see each other, they shouldn't fight. And then when that announcement was going to happen, I was like, all right, fine, I can deal with it. And then just the opening scene of this episode with him just meditating and like hearing those lines, like, was wonderful, because I'm like, oh, of course they have to meet again, because if the last thing we get is this whole story of them, and the next thing they meet is on the Death Star, like that's not enough. Like they need to have this thing that's out there, so that when by the time we get them together, now you're a master of evil. Like there's nothing, like that's it. Like there's no redemption for you. Like he's completely written Anakin off at that point, and I think it's because of what we're going to see in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it did such a good job of convincing me that this is necessary. Not necessary, but an important part of their story.
Yeah, it's not necessary, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, to play devil's advocate, none of this could have happened, and Obi-Wan could have just seen Vader's reign of terror across the galaxy and been like, oh, you're beyond redemption. But this makes 100%. A lot more sense.
Right. There is an article in, I want to say Yahoo or something, I just saw it in passing, where Joby Harold's talking about the thought process behind the whole Obi-Wan sort of realizing the what haunts him still lives and is still amongst him in the galaxy, and that and sort of how dramatic that is, and he was just trying to get Ewan some really juicy dramatic material, and so he went straight to Pablo Hidalgo and said, is it possible that in this series we could explore his discovery that Vader's still out there in the galaxy, and that's a really, really dramatic, high conflict sort of stuff for Ewan McGregor to act on, which. How thankful are we for that sort of material in the show, given Ewan's acting ability? Like, wow, his chops are unparalleled. And, I would argue all the actors are incredible in the show. I would say Reva has some of the best line reads I've heard in Star Wars in, any of these Disney Plus shows. I think she's really, really fun. Oh, you didn't know. he's alive. Like Anakin Skywalker is alive. Like that stuff is haunting and perfect. And it begins this episode, and her character is so pivotal in relaying that information.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And what a cool character! What a historic character at this point. This character kind of is the middle person telling Obi-Wan.
It's so fascinating that her goal seems to be to bring Vader and Obi-Wan together, right? Like that's why she's been so obsessed, right? And I think it has to go back to the fact that master and apprentice, and I didn't have that, and that was taken from me, and now I want, like just this. I want to burn it all down. Like I want them to kill each other,
right? Yeah, I think you'd hit the nail on the head right there, because it's like, what does she want? Maybe to get them both in the room and to space them or something, or like just destroy both of them. Like it's almost like that. I could see that being totally sound for her point of view.
It might be how Obi-Wan gets out of the next confrontation, right? Is that she jumps in to take out Vader, and that's enough.
That's what I'm hoping.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a big theory of mine since the beginning. Is just because the Disney Plus logo has a big red kind of swooshing lightsaber, and I'm like, we might see red on red in this. That it's it's blue on blue in Revenge. You might see a red on red scene.
Or, because I mean, it's a big tone poem. What if that happens and Obi-Wan's lightsaber is damaged, or it's gone, and he has to pick up Reva's lightsaber? So you get Obi-Wan wielding a red lightsaber.
Well, there's another action figure for me to collect. So,
speaking of action figures, I don't have it down here. I do. I got me original episode 3 Obi-Wan.
Oh, nice.
Look at Dapper. Grant, you sent that recent Black series, from the series Obi-Wan, and it sent down a path.
I cannot wait for that. That looks so good.
Ben Kenobi. Yeah. He comes with Lola too, which is kind of fun. He's got a lot of accessories.
Oh, cool.
The other thing I realized. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that.
I'll talk next episode. That's great.
No, Ben, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I mean, I don't know. Just more on Reva. I just want to say, the story's not written on her, and everything we've seen about Inquisitors so far have been kind of, mustache twirling.
Yeah.
Bad guys. And then, but there's obviously so many more layers to Reva, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. I'm with you on there'll be some, there's another motive there. I don't know what it is. I'm not with you on the fact that she'll be the one to sort of defeat Vader, because I feel like the way that A New Hope starts out, it needs to be more of a personal one-on-one. Mm-hmm. He, Vader would have tooled on him and been like, oh yeah, you don't have anyone to bail you out this time, Obi-Wan, or something like that.
I do think, doesn't Obi-Wan need to outwit Vader in the last episode, because it's you were the master and I was the apprentice, or you have to kind of honor that line in a way where Obi-Wan gets the upper hand in a massive way at the end of this series, to the point where it's I just schooled you. I just brought you back to school. And that's kind of what I think needs to happen at the end of the series.
Because, I think Obi-Wan needs to find another gear. And the other thing I realized on the second rewatch here is that Obi-Wan might hate and resent the Jedi Order. He's taking Satine's, pet name for him in Ben. And he's I don't think he really he's talking about his natural family, his biological family, reflecting on everything he missed out on. And I think they haven't there. It's really subtle, but I think he also despises the Jedi Order, and that might be something he and Reva can bond over.
I would agree with you on that, but I think in this episode there's a hinging device, a hinging moment for his arc, where when he discovers that secret hideout and he touches the carvings on the wall and sees that there's the Jedi Order, the symbol of the Jedi Order. There's the message from Quinlan Vos. I think he's his belief and in the Order is restored in this episode, and it's huge for him going forward, because he wouldn't even touch his lightsaber before this episode.
Yeah, right. I think you're both right.
I agree, but I think he's I think because he's seen that the Jedi Order has evolved, it's changed. It's something different now. It's serving a different purpose. It's not that dogmatic thing as before. And he, as someone as much of a rebel as Quinlan Vos, would be the one to sort of this is how we're going to interpret the Force and use it to do good in the galaxy.
The other thing I just think, I think the reason why you're both kind of right is that, and this is a very obvious thing, but it kind of was a light bulb moment where it was a light bulb. I'm well, yeah, of course. But it just never occurred to me. Is what we're getting is Obi-Wan's hero journey. Like this is what this is like, which is weird, right? Because we meet him the first time in the movies, he's at the end of his hero's journey, and we meet him not even at the beginning. Kind of when we meet him, he's at the end of his hero's journey in a weird way, right? Because he's already gone through being a Jedi. He's a Padawan, but he's kind of like about to be. So we never like see his journey, right? We just see him mid-journey. We see him as a mentor and that figure in both movies or both series. And then suddenly we get this of like, oh yeah, he's refusing. He's doing like literally every single step of this, which is kind of amazing. I mean, it's as if, and this is going to be controversial, he's basically Luke in episode 8 right now. Like he starts out very much like Luke in episode 8, very much cut off from the Force. Yeah. Obi-Wan. He's cut off from the Force. I think he's a little bitter. He doesn't trust anyone, right? He sees the bad in everything. Like in this, and when he's talking to Leia at the beginning of this episode, it's all about the bad, the bad, the bad. There's no hope. There's nothing good, right? Don't trust anyone. The Empire sucks, obviously, but like it's all these things. And so he's slowly going through that journey, right? And regaining the hope.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously, Ryan and Ram, built that Luke off of Obi-Wan. They designed him to be Obi-Wan, in The Last Jedi. Yeah. So it's only fitting that Obi-Wan in his story sort of, just doubles down on all those really interesting notions of exile and connection to the Force and reinterpreting the Jedi Order, all that sort of stuff. But also the failure, right? Like Luke telling Kylo, I failed you, and having tears in his eyes. I'll never get over that in The Last Jedi. I think it's a pretty powerful moment. And so you can sense that this is also Obi-Wan dealing with his failure. He has failed pupil. I mean, when your pupil falls to the dark side, the mentor figure is going to have a lot of overlap, both of them. And so that's just what the story has to sort of serve. But yeah, I'm hoping they do interesting stuff. I'm hoping there's more than just shutting the door on Vader. I hope there's a longer game at play here. Obviously, we know there's a longer game at play, but it's just, I hope we get, I almost think like it needs to end like 8, where Rey does sort of shut the door on Kylo and is like, there's nothing here for you. Like, there's no redemptive path for you. But then what do we learn? We learn that Vader is redeemed and Kylo's redeemed. It's just like, so like these stories are like almost these like, omega points, these middle, I call them like omega points in the story, where it's like it's at the very center of the story, and there's a lot of potential paths created in this moment. Yeah. But I'm also the dark people.
Absolutely. I'm starting to come back away from Vader was ever redeemed, as opposed to Vader realized the hurt he caused and the love he still feels for his son. Like I'm sorry. After this episode, I don't know if watching him throw a space wizard down a tube is enough for me to be like, yeah, you're redeemed, dude.
Yeah.
I don't
think he was redeemed by any audience redeemed.
Yeah.
Seeing him as a redeemed figure, but I feel
it's a very small, intimate moment between father and son, which is what it was meant to be, and it's amazing for that. But I'm like, you're still a bad dude.
Which is wild that he gets like Force Ghost status, like even.
Yeah, that's still a little perplexing. Still a little. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
it's also like reverts to like the form he, his youngest self before he fell to the dark side guy. It's like, it's just a weird, just a strange, which is like, was that done just to fit in Hayden Christensen, or was that done to just capture him when he was at his last moment on the light? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I think it's meant to serve.
I think both.
Yeah, both.
But I think it also makes, I think it does make sense. I always like, I mean, the first time I saw that, and like, I think it was on the Blu-ray the first time they did that change out. I was just like, oh, like I really was just not great about it. But every time I watch it now, I'm like, you know what? I've come to the same thing as you, Grant. Is like the last time he was light side, that's what he looked like, right? Like,
right.
He I guess you could say that he was light side at the very end there, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's quite a technicality. I mean, it's sort of it's like, why did it? I just feel it's unfair to the actor that played Darth Vader in that scene. So what is his name?
Sebastian Shaw, I think.
Sebastian
Shaw, yeah.
Well, they were not in the suit. They were. Yeah, no, that's right. That's the head, the face that we see. It's just like, Sir Alec Guinness has got to stick around, but like Sebastian Shaw didn't get to stick around. Like, I don't know. And it's also like, as from like a nerd points thing, it's like, I want to see light side Darth Vader, like old Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of cool. It's like it's an action figure waiting to happen. It's like all those, there was that rash of designs, like weird concept designs, I think for a video game where they flipped a lot of the affiliations. There was like evil Yoda and evil.
Oh yeah, that was
Luke.
That was the yeah, that was what's your favorite game? That was the third one, right? Battlefront 3, right? That was the concept art for Battlefront 3.
Oh, was that what that was?
Yeah,
I thought it was like a Force Unleashed thing or something.
That was Battlefront 3. They're gonna have like light side, dark side opposites.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh right, you're right. It was. Yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of depth to this episode here. It's just like I don't know. I was like gut sick after the first time I watched this because it does have those Revenge of the Sith vibes. And like that's why I watched Revenge of the Sith the least. It's like how many times can you watch this tragedy unfold? But I think this is headed in a different direction. There is like so much mystery. The droids are awesome.
Dude, can we see Vader fight that loader droid? Like I was
I know.
hoping that would happen. I was hoping he would charge through the flames, Obi-Wan would get away, but then that loader would just turn around and be like,
at least take a chunk out. Yeah.
So the other thing is
get one hit in at least, hoping that get one hit in.
I also know I know the answer to my own question because if it actually happened, then people would be aware. But anyway, I'm like, why that the loader droid was holding that wrench by his side.
So good. That move.
I was just waiting for him
when that happened. I was like, was he meant to bash skulls?
Sure he was. And I get it. Like, obviously, if that happened, then people will start coming into their place and it would give Reva the moment to do it. But I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, do you think he's gonna get back there in time to save Leia in episode 4?
Yeah.
He'd be everywhere.
Oh, the droid? That'd be amazing.
The droid. I
love it.
I was a little, and then again, I think that just some of the plot management in this was a little confusing for me. I was like, it just in terms of like, I guess the space that the characters inhabit and like where people are going down that long tunnel and like,
I was like, wait, which end of the tunnel?
But Reva and her don't cross paths. I was just like, I was a little confused about some of the stuff.
Maybe there's multiple tunnels in there.
I'm thinking there's multiple, but it looked like one tunnel. But okay, yeah. Weird stuff like that.
So we had a long discussion. Like literally after it, Carly and I went, okay, but how did Reva, like that was our big question. What we came down to is that she's very smart and she knows they're trying to escape and the only way to go is the spaceport. And so she saw that and realized the fastest way is above ground. So she actually came back out, went all the way to spaceport real quick, and then came back around through the other side. Because otherwise, that's the only way that works. Because otherwise, and I watched the second time.
Gymnastics I can get behind.
Yeah, I know, but that's all I could do because it was just really driving me nuts. Again, it's one of those little tiny things where I'm like, it's so minor that I shouldn't be questioning it because everything's amazing. But I'm like, come on, how'd that happen?
Right, because it's just editing and scene to scene doesn't make sense sometimes, and sometimes you're just like, Obi-Wan ends up at the chemical plant that ends up to be the sewers where Leia's being kept, and it's all in one. I think it just feels compressed. Like a lot of this feels very compressed, but it's a Disney Plus series. Like what more can you ask for? They're they're hitting all the boxes. I mean, they're checking all the boxes, but it's like, there's going to be there's stuff that's going to be truncated. There's stuff that's going to be, we have to just get through this because it's just another location. And then how many locations they have to provide the show is already staggering. So it's like, what more can we ask for?
The other thing is, I'm guessing if my thing is right, they probably did shoot a scene of her kind of like speeding over land or something or doing something, right?
And we've seen that. And it's not like the most fun to watch.
And it probably cuts the tension or cuts the pacing of it, right? Where you're just like, because that's what they say, right, in film is that, and that's Scorsese's thing, is just like he doesn't care about continuity because if he knows continuity, I'm not doing my job right.
Right.
And
there's two things I would have done differently in this episode. One is when Obi-Wan's spotted by the probe droid, I would have had Vader look at that footage, like basically like the hollow, like, glimmering in his eye as he's looking at Obi-Wan raise his head. Like I would have cut that and not had it been like a tell don't show where like the Inquisitors then talk about it. And then at the same time, if that is how Reva got there in the tunnel situation, like most movies would have her like run out in the street and like hijack a speeder to like get to the spaceport or something like that in just like 2 quick shots. You know what I mean? Like something where it like adds to the tension and like sort of like gets her there in a way that's believable. So like there's just little things I would have just tweaked in this, but it's like I love this episode and like. I love how this episode begins. Like I love Obi-Wan meditating in the beginning.
Yes.
But it felt like it was a callback to a lot of how the sort of Force vision sequences worked in the prequels. And I loved it. I was like, this is great. And then I loved Mapoozle, like the planet they land on. I thought it was obviously like Simi Valley or like SoCal. Like, I mean, like it's another SoCal planet. I don't know how we feel about that, but I didn't.
It looked fun. It was been strip mined. It was in fact, I love that the Inquisitors say, and I don't know the name of the other Inquisitor, the female Inquisitor with the tails. She says she's like, it's Marpoozle. It's a strip operation. Just like offhand, like it's just another planet. We just stripped.
It was a little weird when Obi-Wan was like, "Oh, this place was like teeming with fields and families and farms, like not so long ago before the Empire." But I was like, like geologists would say, like that sort of terrain is formed over hundreds of thousands of years. Like you know what I mean? It's like So I was just like, it's just stuff like that. I think is unneeded and like. There's just stuff. I almost feel like there's too much in this show. And I think that's what I say about most Disney Plus shows, where I'm just like, there's just little things I just don't think we need. Like, I don't think we need like he's coming, master. Like, I don't think we need like it's like there's little things I just don't think we need. I don't know, but maybe that's for the general audience and being like,
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I didn't need. I kind of also weirdly that line he's coming, master as well threw me just a little bit. Where I'm like. Yeah, we all know. Like, but maybe we don't. Maybe we don't all know, right? Some of us need a little more help.
No, and it's all building towards this Qui-Gon thing. I mean, I love that they just keep beating that drum, the Qui-Gon drum.
I love that
he's talking to him and begging his master that like this is going to be a major point in his development. Is some sort of understanding he either gleans from Qui-Gon or that he has to attain to speak with Qui-Gon.
Do you think one of them will get the upper hand in battle at some point and be able to strike the other down? And either Vader or Qui-Gon's going to reach out to either Vader or Qui-Gon and tell them like, no, like don't do it, and like stop them in that moment where like one of them could kill each other? Like, do we think that could happen? Because like,
I know I'm
hoping for a different sort of usage of the Ghost. I would like new usage of Force Ghost. Like that's all I want is like I don't want to see him just appear standing there and just like. Calmly tell Obi-Wan.
I'm standing by my super campy use the Force Obi-Wan line.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, okay. No. I think you might do something there because he's still floundering with the freaking Force in this episode.
I'm like, he didn't use any swords.
It might be Qui-Gon.
Yeah, or a Jedi mind trick. The entire time with the stormtroopers, I was waiting for Jedi mind trick. Right, I was just like, here's the Jedi mind. Nope. Okay, here's blaster. But I think he is. And part of it might be because he's afraid it's going to draw Vader faster if he uses the Force. That might be what's going on. But like with this series, I think you equal odds. One of you is right. Does that make sense? Like I could see either of those two things happening.
I like Ben's actually the most. Use the Force Obi-Wan because he hasn't yet. It's a big setup here for him to use the Force in a major way.
Can it be?
Actually, he has. He caught Leia in a pretty.
He did because he had to.
He did, but he's still like denying the Force in his life. He didn't even use a lightsaber combat form against Vader. He just sort of was like blah and was like, what's going on?
He was using it as like a torch, like to see. He was like, "Can I?"
Oh, he used this weird overhand grip. It was like,
He needs to assume the stance again. We need to see that stance.
Yeah.
He also, when Leia was being held hostage by the stormtrooper, there's a million Force moves he could have used that would be much safer.
Right.
Than him using a blaster.
Shooting over her head.
Right. And he's not the best, as we saw in episode 2, the best person with a blaster. Right.
But he still has to.
But actually, he's really good in this episode.
He's really very good in this episode. I guess he got some practice shots in that last episode. Yeah.
And I was like, well, it doesn't make sense that he got pinned down at the end. But if you show that they're like, put your head down, he still had the blaster in his hand pointing at the stormtrooper. So I felt like he had another move up his sleeve.
Yeah.
If the officer didn't blow them all away. But I loved the fact that he was like actually, I mean.
And he's using his smarts again by being like, I'm putting the blaster and like it just shoots the guy or whatever. Like, that was
great. It's so cool.
It's a little tease,
Yeah.
But I think it's redemption for Obi-Wan is not going to be getting back to the armor-clad hero we knew from the Clone Wars. It's going to be something beyond. It's like going to be a revelation that's going to take him to to Sir Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan. Something more. But
he is
in tune with the Force as opposed to the Jedi dogma.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the character, and I think it's a real tightrope walk, is that he has to almost become this wizened old master, like kind of not by the end of the show, but it has to kind of be that has to be set up at least. The sort of like the Alec Guinness version has to be set up. But as wise as Obi-Wan will ever become, he's always adamant that Vader should die. He's the passivity. It's not going to be the Last Jedi Luke. It's not going to be the passive way out. It's going to be this guy's got to go, and like. Yeah. Maybe it's his own children that need to decide this, and maybe it's not my decision to make. But
no, but I think we're going to see something.
Things Vader needs to go.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, this is his point of view, right? And this is the point of view he teaches Luke: is that like, your father died, your father is dead, and this thing is taking his place, and I mean, so at some point Obi-Wan has to arrive there,
right? Yeah, I think we're going to see that, and I think I mean I don't know. Again, I don't want to belabor the point of that scene, him walking down the street, but like, I'm sorry if I saw that, I'd be like, you got to kill him. There's no good left in him. Oh, there's no redemption.
Yeah, that tells us exactly where. Yeah, there's no good in Vader at this point in time. There's nothing. Yeah.
We might be there because he didn't during his fight with Vader, he didn't say anything of like, come back to the light. There's nothing like that. He literally, the only thing we get from is like, what happened to you? Like how did you become? And Vader's line back is, "I am what you made me." Is like
good.
It's so good.
Perfect line.
It is a perfect line. So he might already kind of be there, right? Like just from this episode. But I think we're gonna get more. I think we're gonna get more where he's just there's no redemption. He may try it to talk. I think what we're gonna get is Vader's not gonna stop and have a conversation with him. He's just not.
No.
But force projecting Vader, which we got a tease of in this episode, right? Like that's like
so they're aware of each other.
They're aware of each other and they're seeing each other in the Force. We might get like a Kylo Rey moment in episode 4 or 5 where they do actually sit down,
match eye line Vader and Obi just
and have a conversation. There might get that because I also think if you're Hayden Christensen,
I can't do that, Adam.
Vader in the
I
back
can't
tank,
do it anymore.
Just hanging there.
Grant,
I watched The Last Jedi last night.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna get it because you don't tease that Hayden.
We get it in ESV with Luke and Vader, and so I would like it. I wouldn't mind it happening again. I almost don't want it to become like a dyad, like shared environment or like little hints that they share the same space because they're
I agree
to each other. Like I don't need any of that. It's just
I don't want any of that either. But I think you're also Hayden Christensen, right? And you've been lambasted for your acting.
That helmet needs to come off.
Right. But
don't
that's
get me
the thing.
wrong. That helmet needs to, I need to see like zombie Vader.
But that's the thing. But you're still not acting, right? If the helmet's off, that is a hard acting gig, right? So I think Hayden's like, is there a way,
by the way, guys,
you can give me a scene where I'm not in a suit and I'm not talking around a mouthpiece where I can actually show that I can act, right? Like I can hold the scene. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if we're going to get
I think we're going to get that in the last episode. I think I think Obi-Wan's going to pwn Vader by ripping his mask off. And then he's like, let me look into your eyes. And, or maybe an echo to even like Han Solo being like, take that helmet off, sort of thing and look into his eyes and just be like, and that will ultimately seal, Vader's fate or Anakin's fate in Obi-Wan's eyes, where it's just like, you're not even the same thing. But I can't see actually if Obi-Wan gets him pinned and like that, him not killing him.
No, I don't think if he has a second shot, he's not going to take it after letting him live and everything he's done since he let him live.
Right.
I think this is going to go full Terminator 2 at the end. Like the last 2 episodes, I think you're going to get the
Vader's going to die with a
Vader,
thumbs up.
But Vader's getting thrashed like he's going through the grinder. Like I really do think you're going to get a lot of Vader's suit just getting like shredded by, smart thing that Obi-Wan's doing. You get to leap up from your couch. You get to cheer along with Obi-Wan's, heroics, but Vader is getting just destroyed in those moments. And then walking out of it, which is cool because like, that's the most metal thing that he keeps walking out of these terrible, he gets stomped on by like an a walker or something, like stuff like that, I think might happen.
Because at the end of it, we get Obi-Wan living peacefully back on Tatooine, fully embracing the Force. So, So it's like, how does that work? I mean, it would be crazy if he pwned Vader so hard that like he's just like, I'm not messing with that guy.
Yeah.
That would be wild. I don't know. It's fascinating. And I love that they're, teasing so many different directions for how this can go, and leads to a great podcast material.
Yeah, totally. And I trust what they're doing though, because like this, my biggest fear about this series is that it would feel like it didn't fit, right? Like it'd feel this is weird. Yeah. And it just does to me. Like it doesn't feel like it makes sense to me that
there is stuff
directions they're taking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's stuff.
There's really fun stuff in here that I think kind of like not only like comments directly on the canon, sort of like ties canon together, but also like ties to unwritten canon, like George's original drafts of like the prequels where like the love triangle is even stronger, because like there's moments where Leia's like, "Are you my father?" and he's like, "I wish I was," like, or whatever. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, you dirty dog, Obi-Wan. Yeah. Like, what is that? What's that about? I never heard motivations like that in the prequel. Like that seems like that's
or even the fact that we get
early drafts.
We get a hint at Owen Kenobi.
Toby Kenobi
or Orden or whatever.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like in early drafts and early like press material. Right. Owen was referred to as Owen Kenobi. So there was a whole confusion for a long time that Owen was actually Obi-Wan's brother. Right. That
this
took
is
over.
The ultimate in terms of like commenting on George's original process, because it's like
by
this is a prequel to the original trilogy in a way, like in a longer prequel than Rogue One that digs into the actual legacy characters. So it's like this is the ultimate in terms of like, I don't know, meta sort of commentary on George's process.
That's lore consultant Pablo Hidalgo putting a stamp on
it. I read that I read a little bit about Pablo's new role of lore advisor, which is way too cool. Way too cool.
Yeah. Dream job number one.
Yep. If he mysteriously dies and someone and I get that job, I had nothing to do with his death.
But I think a lot of people think Pablo's like holding the reins to Star Wars and like steering every project, but he's not. Like that would be impossible. He's just there to like create the guardrails, and then he like shares a little bit of his description. He goes like he shares a little bit of his description of his job, and he's like, I'm just the guy who's like, how about someone asked me how about a dog that plays basketball? I'm the one on the team that says there's nothing in the rule book that says the dog can't play basketball.
Right. Yeah.
Like I just figure out what can't happen canonically and sort of create, guardrails or give you a quick answer as to if you can entertain that story idea or not. So when Joby Harold came over to him and said, how can we do the realization that Vader's still alive in this show? Can we do that? And Pablo's like, that's really dramatic. And I think that it makes perfect sense that, 10 years later, it's sort of like, this shrouded menace has been going around killing Jedi, but probably very secretively, probably quietly, and probably just, and whoever Vader encounters likely dies. So
and
Qui-Gon's not, a lot of information being spread about this guy.
Well, and Obi-Wan doesn't seem really tuned in to what's going on in the galaxy, right? Like he's not hanging out at the bar. He's cutting up, desert mantas and then like feeding his Ethiopian and going home.
Not a bad life.
Not a bad life. It's a living.
Right. So there's two things I want to make sure I bring up. The first is I think we've gone long enough that without talking about Freck.
Yeah, we've taken way too long to not talk about Freck, which surprised me. It's not Seth Rogen, but Zach Braff.
Yeah, it's Mr. Scrubs himself.
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm Freck.
Yeah. I definitely got
nothing wrong with a little order.
I got a little hillbilly with like the Confederate flag on the back of the pickup vibes off him. So it was definitely when they come around the truck and they see it. And the second time I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's when you're like, oh, scumbag.
Condones. You're like, whoa, okay, we're screwed. Obi-Wan, get out now. This episode was also like, oh no, like Leia, no. Leia was making a lot of decisions again. I think I didn't mind Leia, running away from Obi-Wan and all that stuff. I know people bumped up against it. I don't care. I just didn't care. I was like, whatever.
Bother me.
I know this kind of stuff needs to happen with a 10-year-old character. Like, you bring a 10-year-old character into the spotlight, they're gonna run around and it's gonna be slapstick for like a second.
Right.
So Jar Jar level stuff's gonna happen. But this, I was just like, she is making a lot of decisions on this new world. I was like, Obi-Wan is just he's on his back foot. He doesn't. He's
Yeah.
and then this is a really dangerous situation.
Well, that was like one of Obi-Wan at his weakest scenes when they get to the like pickup location and he throws a hissy fit because they're not there, and he's just like gets so dark, and he's just like, oh, this is not going to happen.
Nope,
no one's going to find us. I knew this is like it's
like
so not. Oh yeah, it's so not Obi-Wan. And then the Force sweeps in and carries Leia to the next stage of their journey. But
how good were the stormtroopers in those scenes? I thought they were
so good.
When I saw them,
they
I'm like,
were perfect.
Yeah, I was like, which Oscar winners are in the suits this time?
I know. The voices sound familiar, but I looked through them on Wikipedia, and the people identified so far, no one I know that even sound familiar. A couple of them sound like comedians I know, but they weren't them.
I was assuming it would be like every James Bond that's still alive be in those suits or something.
I have some plot logic I want to work through with you guys here too, because this is important. This is basically like all plot hinging moment, anyways. Where he's like, they're saying, we're farmers from Tall, like this is Luma, I'm Orden, and Leia's really carrying them because Obi-Wan's terrible at keeping up a lie. And it's established clearly. And then he accidentally calls her Leia, and the guy's like, "You called her Leia. I thought her name was Luma." And I was like, I was just like, okay, they're searching for a Jedi, but like, what was the briefing and what sort of Jedi are they searching for? Do they know it's Obi Wan Kenobi? And if they know it's Obi Wan Kenobi, do they know he's with a little girl named Leia Organa? Is that information in the briefing? And I'm like, if so, wouldn't they just pick up off Leia that Obi-Wan's the Jedi and immediately draw arms? Like,
and they also have pictures of Obi-Wan floating around from last episode. Yeah, it was a little like
I was super confused by that moment.
Yeah. They're on the periphery. They just like next thing says
got it. And, like,
Order 27 and an Imperial probe droid takes care of all the thinking, and that's it.
Right.
I'll say this is not I don't think the top people get stationed here, right? So this is not seems like it's a high like security
they don't see the wanted
place.
Sure, they don't see the wanted. Sort of
I think they probably did, but they're too busy, drinking synth ale at the bar last night and didn't really pay attention. Like, stormtroopers are not good at their job.
Yeah, which is kind of great comic relief over and over again. These like stormtroopers are totally inept.
Yeah,
and topical.
Yeah,
current, if you will. Yeah. So the stormtroopers were amazing. There was actually in the back of that truck, there was an of course at the end of like Obi-Wan, and then he like goes right into his like Sir Alec Guinness mannerisms rather.
Yeah.
But he was like, they're just like, oh, something, and he gives an of course, like, which is my favorite Obi line.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
It's a long ride.
Yeah.
But I do love that moment between Leia and Obi-Wan. That whole Leia, like that explanation of like why I accidentally called her Leia. Like it's just it's so just Ewan McGregor's an amazing actor. So you give him any of these lines and stuff, and you can just trust him to deliver it in a way that's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we want to talk Hideout? So like
the
Hideout they get into.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the Orabash translations online?
No, I was about to ask you. What have you seen?
For Light and Life is on there.
Yep, for Light and Life is there. So there's some Old Republic love. Okay. Or High Republic. High Republic love. We know one other Jedi who went through there, who carved his name into it. Ben, any guesses who that might be?
Oh, so not Quinlan Vos?
Not Quinlan Vos, another one.
Oh. Mace Windu?
No, I wish. The internet would have been a buzz. It makes sense. It's not shocking, but it connects.
Cal Kestis?
Nope.
Kanan.
You like Caleb Dune.
Caleb Dune. Okay.
Doom. So his name is on there. So Caleb Doom, when he was kind of on the run, came through this place.
Very cool.
And also Jin Altis. I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, it's not anything. It's just in this. So someone translated it. This is a first appearance. But
I love the Quinlan quote.
Yeah.
Is that in Dark Disciple? Is it? Is that in Dark Disciple?
I couldn't. It
It's
sounded
been so
very
long since I've
familiar.
read it.
But it's like
Yeah.
only when you close your eyes can you see the path, I think. And I was
Only
like,
when you only when
Oh.
your eyes are closed can you truly see. And then she's like, "What is it?" And he says, "The way," which is like
The
I don't
way.
know. It's a Mandalorian sort of echo, but it's just like the way. And I mean, I think that's actually a pivotal moment for Obi-Wan. I think he sees that and he's like, oh, okay, here's someone that I knew and respected that's survived and that's flourishing and still serving the galaxy. He seemed really
saving younglings, which
saving younglings
broke my heart a little bit. I was like,
yeah. And the path goes to, well, I mean, first of all, the path is cool. I don't know if we talked about this on Discord. We have a spoilers channel on Discord if y'all want to talk about this early with us. But it's the path to Jabin, which is sort of like, I guess that's the distro area where I thought at first there was like a
that's where people get new identities and like new, that's
I
think we're going to Jabin next episode.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely. A couple more. So Valen Halcyon was mentioned, and this one really made me very excited.
This is the Galaxy's Edge Halcyon cruiser.
No, this is deeper cut. This is deeper cut. So, in old Star Wars legend, Hal Horn, born Valiant Halcyon, was a Corellian Jedi survivor.
Ooh.
Who ends up a member of Rogue Squadron. Yep. Yeah. So he's the Rogue Squadron guy. And I love that character and I love those books, as you know.
Yeah.
So the fact that they recanonized him as a Jedi survivor.
Wait, Corran Horn?
No, Hal Horn. Hal Horn. Yeah.
Hal Horn.
Yeah.
Is Corran Horn related to?
I believe so. I can't keep them all.
Sorry, I have a very.
Someone do all this.
Oh, that's his son. That's his son. Yeah. So he's and he's in the New Jedi Order. So his son rise to prominence in the New Jedi Order stuff. So there's that. Let me see. There's one more. Let me click on that one. I don't want to buy Bomba's socks.
While we're on the topic of Quinlan Vos,
yes,
and
please.
You think we could get a Quinlan cameo or Quinlan could arrive at some point in the series?
I think so, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe we've seen enough of him, but I don't think I've seen esoteric cameo would be great.
I think if he had a small part in this show, it could turn into an entire series that stays within the dark times, and it could be really fun. But
who do you cast?
That would be cool. It's also a perfect way to get Leia to see Padme. I'm trying to think, like, how do we get Leia to like visualize Padme? Because it almost needs to account for that line in the original trilogy.
Right.
She was very beautiful.
She remembers her mom, but she was very young, and it's a fuzzy memory or whatever.
It's sad, right? Very beautiful, but sad.
Right. I have a lot of ideas for this, and one of them is, could it be Quinlan? Could they find like an item that they owned that then Quinlan kind of holds it up to Leia, and then Leia sees her mom, and then Quinlan's such a degree removed from Obi-Wan that like it wouldn't impact the canon in any way. Like, oh, Obi-Wan, you showed me my mom, and like I definitely remember you. Please help us from our only hope. It's more of like another Jedi bent down and gave me a piece of my mom's, like, I don't know, Senate regalia, and I could see her for a second.
Yeah, because that's Quinlan Voss's force power, that's right? He has that psychometry or something. I can't remember what they refer to it as.
Yeah, that's right. It's like psychometry. That's right.
Yeah. That also Cal Kestis has that too, right?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. There's the rumors of buzz about someone who's cast in the series that we haven't seen yet who may play Quinlan Voss. And that's O'Shea Jackson.
Oh wow!
That's what the rumor. That's what the internet's a buzz. There's nothing confirmed about it, but it's just kind of like people like, I wonder if type of posts.
Okay. That's what the hive mind.
He's definitely in the show. We haven't seen him in anything yet, but like, could be anyone. But I think that would work for sure for this character.
Yeah. That's one way to do it. I was also thinking, like, how cool would it be if like Obi-Wan brought Leia to like Naboo, like on a pit stop or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
Wild. I wouldn't put it past the show. Like at this point, like all things stand.
That would I don't think I could handle that. I couldn't handle that brief scene if that was a scene.
The palace of Endu.
Just bringing her to like her final resting place, and I don't know. Him, maybe he does some psychometry. I don't know.
Because the Emperor keeps Naboo pretty pristine, right?
That's right. The Emperor has like a lockdown on Naboo.
Yeah, and like a retreat.
He doesn't he use a lot of like the fine metals and stuff like that come from there? And like the ships they design on Naboo are like slick. They're like what the Emperor likes. They're like.
But I don't think he strip mines his own planet. You know, I think he kind of leaves that one.
It's his. Yeah, he uses it as a vacation spot, like as a retreat. Like
it's like New Genesis in like these. It's like Dark Side.
Yeah,
it's like don't destroy it. It's
in the old Galaxies, Star Wars Galaxies MMO game. They added in legacy characters, and you can find them in certain things, and you can find the Emperor in his retreat on Naboo.
Oh, really?
And he would give you missions. It was really weird. That's when that game was kind of like
that's almost the lore I'm most interested in. By the way, is like that like pre-Senate like Palpatine on Naboo, like so family or whatever the hell, the dark story that was in Plagueis. The story's terrifying. I don't know if we need to see it, but it's like maybe an anime, maybe like a cartoon.
Yeah.
A Visions thing or something super stylish.
Like Tales of the Jedi. I was wondering if
Tales of the Jedi would be great for that. Actually,
yeah. I was wondering if
Jedi.
We could get like either Darth Bane or Darth Plagueis in Tales of the Jedi.
I wonder if we get a companion story. Maybe it's Tales of the Sith. Maybe we get like a Tales of the Jedi series and a Tales of the Sith. That would be amazing if they did that as a follow up. Thinking about Palpatine on in an opulent palace on Naboo, just maybe flashback to the three of us walking out of Rise of Skywalker, and the first question that Grant had in his mind. But we'll move on from that.
What was the first question?
Does Palpatine? Palpatine blanks?
F's? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's one of my favorite Star Wars memories of all time.
Yeah, that was my first thought walking out of that movie. You want to know?
Yeah, he claps that.
That was a great time watching that movie. It was like. We went into it back to back. We saw it twice. Yeah, watched it back to back. Why did we do that to ourselves?
I know. Why do we do it? We're never going to do it any other way.
It was way better.
My question is, why have I never done that before? Like, I will always see a new Star Wars movie 2 times in a row because the first time I can't process it.
Yeah.
And I need to see it immediately afterwards.
I definitely have a rule of 2 now with all Star Wars. It's like the first time is just like, don't do anything, don't eat. Don't like just focus and enjoy and like love it. And then the second time I'm not looking at the action, I'm looking at the background and I'm taking notes. And I just
same here.
All that. Like this time I noticed that they were very dirty stormtroopers. It was elegantly scuffed armor in a really cool way. And I was like, wait, is this after the Empire? I'm like, no, this is the height of the Empire.
Yeah.
And they just, beat up stormtroopers.
I can only imagine all of them finding out that Vader's coming, and they're like, "Oh man, we gotta go polish our armor real quick."
Yeah, right. And you know what? Earlier on, Grant, you were like, "There." I think we all agreed that the Inquisitor's uniforms, especially Reva's uniform, is amazing.
Yeah.
But I have to say, in contrast to Vader, and I'm sure it was part of the way it was shot. No, Vader's still the coolest looking character in Star Wars.
Yeah, we also got like the sort of like costume change scene in this episode.
Right.
You see the pack like it has like needles on it, like sticks into him. How did you feel about that?
I loved it. I loved it. I like it's so funny. Like there's only one moment of violence where I had to turn my eyes away, but I'm all about body horror because I'm always just like because my brain immediately suspends disbelief and then just goes, well, actually does the opposite where I'm like, ooh, how'd they do that? Like, that's how my brain processes horror movies. I'm always like, oh, that's amazing. How'd they actually do that? So
be advised. It's like when we talk about this sort of stuff, it's mainly because I think we love special effects.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Effect design and things like that. So, we talk
if I see
story or we talk about dark things, it's like, it's just to see some crazy special effects.
Yeah. It's an outlet for me for this stuff to process things that I can't process in real life. I love horror movies because I watched Night of the Living Dead. My quick origin story on Adam's love of horror movies. I was homesick one day. My mom was doing dishes and left me in the living room watching A&E because it's arts and television. What could be wrong? This is when actually used to be that. And for the midday movie, they decided to show Night of the Living Dead. And she left me in the room for about an hour and a half when I was probably like 7, and I just sat there and watched all of Night of the Living Dead, and I slept with the lights on for the next 5 years of my life. So I love horror movies for the same reason I'm a teacher, which is I have horrible stage fright, so I must do the thing that frightens me the most in order to get over it. So I consume horror movies to get over my fear of horror movies. But if I see anything horrific in real life, I am like, ugh. Like I don't like it. I don't like suffering.
This was a fun episode. It definitely had horror vibes, definitely Vader sort of Frankenstein vibes, and then getting pieced together. Piece by piece, and like the clamp arms kind of coming down, like the back to fluid, like just how exaggerated all the machinery is around him is so fun. Love stuff. And then him just coming in and out of the shadows. I mean, around the mining sort of gravel pits. It's like, that was crazy to see him just.
We got a jump scare with Vader too. It was like I don't know how he snuck up on Obi-Wan, but like he did. That was wild. I love we got Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber for the first time in this episode too.
Yeah, not in like a hoorah, like
oh my god, I'm about to die.
It was like a utility saber.
Yeah,
he's like, I guess I have to do this right now. And there was even the thing like when they first face off, he just runs away.
But it was a scary movie so with much. The flashlight in a scary movie. It's back to horror genre. This was just someone running away from the monster and then lighting up the flashlight because they don't know where the monster is and they're breathing heavy and spinning around.
Yeah, that was great.
But then it was like Vader just walks out blasé, just like from the darkness with like, and like you're not gonna see Vader. He has like blinking lights all over his abdomen.
Are those belt lights new? I don't remember.
Yeah, there's like more lights than I thought. Like all the other things were just like at colored switches. I never thought there were lights there sometimes, but I guess there's more lights on the suit. It also just looks awesome, so why not just put more?
Yeah, and it's
the visitors have like really cool little decals and lights on their armor, which stands out.
Yeah, the red lights. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, because technically we've got like a new Vader suit here. This could still be like a version 1.3.5 or something, and he hasn't fully used. It could be a different suit that he uses in A New Hope.
Yeah, well, especially if what Grant wants to see happens, he's definitely have to repair the suit.
Yeah, he's gonna need a new. Yeah.
I'm hoping like Obi-Wan turns on like one of the hyperdrive engines and like it just ion engines just like roasts Vader or something. Like I'm hoping we get some awesome. I mean, like that happened in Bad Batch actually.
Yeah,
that happened already.
It's right. It'd be amazing if they light him on fire again.
Yeah,
it's like again.
Oh,
I think
because you know what? He doesn't have the head scar yet.
He doesn't have that big gash on his head yet.
Oh, you're right. He doesn't.
Is that a thing?
Oh, they're a good catch back.
Oh, so that's totally. He's gonna get a lightsaber. Yeah,
getting cut across the top of the head.
The head.
Yeah.
If you've ever been on the top of the head, it's the worst pain ever.
And then the whole mask can fall off basically because he can cut the entire mask.
Yeah, that's how you get Benzine, right? That's how you get that, and then the helmet falls off, and then he has that. Yeah. What else? We haven't talked about much about Tala Durith.
Yes. So cool. Indira Verma.
Indira Verma.
Incredible actress. Oh my
god. Her character's again multifaceted. She's like undercover with the Imperials and then running this like underground railroad path for Jedi. And, she's fantastic actress. I loved her in every scene. And I love we get some sniper skills with a pistol. That's pretty cool.
She's like, I made mistakes and like, before I knew it, I was so deep with like the Empire, until I found out what they truly were. And then like and then now I do what I can.
This is what I do.
And then Obi-Wan's like, we all made mistakes. And that was just like perfect scene.
That was a way underrated scene. That's a super powerful scene.
It's so good. It's such a nice moment between the two of them. And then there's another moment in that when she's talking to Leia and she puts on her blaster belt. I think cross draw style, right? Is that
yes?
And she makes the comment.
She became one of my favorite characters of all time.
I do this so I can draw faster.
Yeah.
Like, does Leia wear cross draw? Like, to me, it felt like such a weird line where I'm like, is this a reference to something I'm not getting?
I don't think so. I think it's incidental because I'm pretty sure Leia, when she wears like pants and like a blaster at her hip, she
I'm
wears
trying to think of episode 6,
Han
right?
style.
Yeah, like kind of loose and
I
low.
think it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's just offering a glimpse of adventure and the life of adventure and
Yeah.
sort of like
and
You can do
setting her
this
up
too.
for liking
and battle
Han,
tactics, because she
Han's
does
the guy.
mention right after that Leia could be a great fighter, so maybe that's part of it too, just mentoring, giving her advice or thoughts. Yeah,
that was the meta line of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the whole point. It's like, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Talk about meta lines. I was thinking back to the line in Attack of the Clones where he's like, "You're gonna be the death of me," and it was like funny, ha in the prequels, but now it's not funny. It's not funny.
No.
Yeah, he's a terror, and it's like, the Anakin Skywalker from Attack of the Clones all the way to Darth Vader. It's like, oh
yeah. And all I can think about during this episode was Grant. You've talked a lot about wanting to bring scary, intimidating,
Vader
bad guys back.
Yes.
And boy, this is like Vader.
I know.
Like, again, like we've never seen him. To be honest, I think this is the scariest Vader we've ever gotten, because like Rogue One, he's intimidating, but like he's not scary to me in that scene. Hey, actually, he's pretty scary, but he's also just like, he's cutting down rebels, right? So it's almost like an act of war. It's horrible, but you know what I mean? Like it's like everyone in this hallway is agreeing on combat, right?
Yeah.
And this is him just like mowing down innocents to just prove a point. Like it's
frightening when he senses Obi-Wan's presence and then immediately rips someone out of their house and just squeezes the life out of them.
Yeah. All I could think of you is you during that scene.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was I think the light shines all the brighter if the threats are truly, truly frightening. Because to me, it's like you want those big Jedi moments to pop, and they're not going to pop unless the villain is like a known threat, and like you are frightened of their silhouette, of their very breath. You know what I mean? Like that to me is so powerful. And then these Obi-Wan moments at the end of the series, these heroic moments, are going to really shine because of how terrifying Vader is. It adds that contrast. Storytelling is just contrast. And if you maximize the contrast, it's going to be a better story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all about it.
Nice, man. Nice. I think we actually covered this thing soup to nuts, at least all of my notes that I took there. Anything else you gentlemen wanted to talk about? Any other notes we missed? It was so fun. This was just this was, first of all, so fun to talk to you about this episode. I hope everyone's having fun conversations at home too. But because there's so much to think about. It's not like cut and dry. It's not just like station to station Mandalorian. It's like there's just like there's a duality to every character, and you don't know which way they're going to break. Which is like, we know pretty much where this is going, but there's so many ways it could fit now, from like a piece that we like didn't know if it had a place in the whole, like, as another story in Star Wars, to like now it's essential and it can take on all these forms. So happily surprised.
I'm just interested in sort of Obi-Wan and Leia's sort of like the end point of this journey with those characters, and sort of what's going to happen in that last part of their story. Is Obi-Wan going to show her Padme, talk about Padme? Is Vader going to get near Leia in this show at all? Is Vader the imagery of Vader standing before Leia is just instantly iconic. A 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it can happen. Really, I think he would almost sense her. His sense that it would be his own child. I don't
know though. He doesn't in episode 4 or 5 or 6. Like he only gets to it because he pulls it out of Luke.
But it's almost like he is acquainted with Leia in.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm Pablo, I'm saying.
I think
there's no reason they couldn't.
If it's okay by Pablo, I think he could encounter 10-year-old Leia, and I think
because it's like, well, first of all, we know Leia has a relationship with Tarkin, and she's like, I should have recognized your vile stench when I stepped aboard, and then I should have recognized. Wait, who has the vile stench? Is it Vader or Tarkin?
Tarkin.
Yeah, because she's like, I should have known you'd be holding Vader's leash.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So she knows what a Vader is.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, I agree that it could totally work. It wouldn't throw me. Does that make sense? Like other things, I would totally be like,
right,
fine.
because this would be Leia's first encounter with Vader, which makes sense given she seems to understand the dynamic of the Empire,
Yeah. Well, I just had a thought, and then I have a stupid thought. They could both be stupid, actually. But I wonder if Reva is gonna recognize the Force in Leia, and get triggered and be like, I can't ruin another young Jedi's life, or that's how
interesting.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
That's probably a great way to end this.
This
talk is the ending of this episode. Reva is the one who intercepts Leia.
Right.
We don't know what Reva's planning to do here, but I guess that's what the question is. Like, what do we think Reva is going to do now that she's found Leia, and she's basically it's just her and Leia in that one room. She's taken out the rebel pilot that was like there to save
pilot.
Leia. Yeah.
Which I thought we would know that pilot, but obviously, I guess not.
Sweet outfit, really cool, like green.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think it was a rebel helmet, right?
Yeah, it looked like a rebel.
Yep, it was full rebel.
Starfighter helmet.
Yeah.
I did notice this time, which I didn't catch the first time, was that Leia starts running. She sees the dead pilot and starts running back down the tunnel. I mean, obviously a 10-year-old. I mean, we know she's a wily 10-year-old, but I don't know.
Based on the last episode, she's nearly impossible to catch.
Right. She's greased up her body somehow. I don't know, but that's why I think like Reva's like, come on.
Yeah.
Unless Reva like does the horror story slow walk after the child that's running.
Right. I think it's going to cut. I think next episode she's just going to be in Reva's grasp. Like I don't think we're going to. Hopefully we don't get a chase.
If Obi-Wan has to take out anyone who learns about Leia too, though. Like, I mean, like, does Obi-Wan not like I have to keep her identity secret at any cost?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's also something I think Obi-Wan's thinking about. So
yeah. That's something that like I would love
him and Reva might fight too, which could be a really fun fight, given that she's going to move a little quicker than Vader. It's going to be a little bit more prequel-y. They've been talking about prequel lightsaber combat, and I'm thinking, hey, if you want to show like some really fun, Ewan doing a couple flips or something like this, I think it would be better if he did that against Reva because she seems like a more athletic sort of Jedi.
Yeah. And he knows she's a monster as well, right? Because he was hiding and saw her cut off that woman's hand and was going to kill Owen Lars. And that I would love that confrontation.
Or fifth brother Reva fight would be great too. Like I can sense there's a big lightsaber fight for Reva ahead.
Yeah, I think
ultimately I would like her to fight Vader. Yeah. I'd like her to get retribution for like the Order 66 and Temple and all that stuff. Yeah, that's what I think needs to happen. I think what she desires is to kill Vader. I think just like any dark side sort of conglomerate, it's like they just want to kill the master or whatever. I mean, so her to like subvert everyone's expectations and be like, oh, thank you for being, but like I don't want the title of Grand Inquisitor. I want like your head or something, like to fight. Like I would love that. Oh my god.
I mean the whole series opens up with, we assume it's her and other younglings literally running away from his attack.
Yes, it's him.
Yeah.
That is.
Or to kill both Obi-Wan and him. That's my theory. That's kind of like
she just wants.
That makes perfect sense. It's like you
to kill the past, to kill the future,
the Order, and then you failed me as the perpetrator of this injustice.
Right. Exactly. Like you tried to kill me and you didn't save me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be.
Both of them are in a room. She can lock a blast door, and then she can like flood that room, put fire in that room, space them. Like, do something to both of them. I think that would be really fun.
So is it going to go full Terminator 2 in that way that they have to team up? That'd be ridiculous.
Wow, Adam. Wow. No. You're going to drop that at the end of this podcast?
No, because there's no way. That might make me stop watching Star Wars.
I was but the student. I was but the apprentice and you were the master. Did they have to work together
again?
Scenario.
Oh man, I hope I'm not right.
Well, like in tandem sort of stuff.
There's no way.
No way.
There's no
way.
That was
no way.
Literally just a joke. There's no way that's gonna happen.
That takes some real savvy storytelling to do that. Which I think it could be done, but they'd have to again like fight afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were actually they That's not out of the.
Then it would like exactly
to
parallel the sequel trilogy.
To like gain their footing again and then just keep fighting, but like gain their footing together in a weird way. Like it's not against.
But wouldn't you, if you're Obi-Wan and you realize your greatest failing was letting him live the first time,
right? He's got to.
Wouldn't you just sacrifice yourself to take him out?
I think.
Yeah, you know what? That's what a Jedi would do. You'd think, right? It's just like at all costs, this threat needs to end. But yeah,
I don't see. I think Obi-Wan. The vibes I'm getting from him is that like he blames the order that made him fight someone that was as close to a brother to him. I think he blames the situation he was in. Like, I mean, I know like Vader became a monster and all that, but it's just like, well, I think he has a lot of hate for being.
I don't like when we blame the order. This was all
like, dude. Like, you have to go kill your best friend. Go, and he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And the fact that he did it, like, that's why I think like he's got to evolve past that sort of that dogmatic Jedi doctrine and forge something for himself.
Right.
It's just the Jedi should never be in politics. They should not be in politics because I don't know why we blame the Jedi so much when there was, an evil dark wizard, brainwashing Anakin the entire time and like they're plotting against the Order and changing the optics, on the Order and all that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot. It's really Palpatine. Like it's really at the end of the day, it's Sheev.
Sheev pulling strings.
It's Sheev. It's Sheev. It's the Order stringent. They're like, yeah, we have rules, lots of rules, and you can, and if you don't follow them, you're out. Like there's the stringent nature of the Jedi, which is a problem.
Yeah, I blame them both.
Yeah, definitely both, but
yeah,
I don't know. But I think, I don't know. I think that it would be nice to get Vader to, a place where he's a little disillusioned with the Emperor, by the end of this too. That might Obi-Wan being like talking about Palpatine, talking about, his servitude to Palpatine, how he's just the lackey, like doing something to Vader. I don't know.
Well, that actually makes me. I wanted, like, we've all read the Vader comics through this time period, so we have that like inside information. Is there anything we can glean from there? I think
right. It's just carrot and stick. The comics, though, it's just like every time he acts up, Palpatine just like
slaps him down again. But I'm like,
down, and I'm just like,
where is he in that sine wave right now? Because I think like he's heading towards. I'm gonna actually just kill Palpatine. Like that was one of his things for a while where he was like, okay. But didn't that happen after A New Hope?
Yeah, that was after A New Hope. That was between 4 and 5, or even 5. Yeah, I think it was between 4 and 5.
Right now, I think he's grinding towards killing all the Jedi. Right? This is.
I think so. I think he's just on his Jedi purge moment.
So this is him trying to convince himself he's full dark side. Right? He had to kill the Kyber crystal to like make it go red, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be the hatefulest, you know, dark Sith you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think we see him. I think this is kind of his peak of dark side. Really. At this
there
point.
Was that great scene where he imagines a moment where he kills the Emperor and asks Obi-Wan for absolution.
Yeah.
In the comic, and I mean it was amazing. And then he was just like, nah.
Yeah, but that's part of me is like that. Maybe his thought is like, we know his ambition in the original trilogy is to turn Luke to the dark side to become his right and rule the galaxy together as father and son. And part of me is like, maybe start us off by Obi-Wan, come with me and kill Palpatine, and we can rule the galaxy as master and apprentice.
I would love. He's like, note this again. Like, like the Dooku pitch and all that. He's like, why does everyone want to turn me to the dark side?
You become what you swore to destroy.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more lightsaber fights, but this is old man Adam now at this point is like, I'm all about the talking. Give me the talkie. Like I cannot wait to have them talk more. That's what I'm more excited for. Anything else is more Vader, Obi-Wan
the
conversation.
Fighting wasn't as thrilling as I thought it would be. I was like, okay, like it's almost like I think Vader works better in like close quarters and like tight hallways and stuff. Like he's really scary in like a labyrinth sort of
it'd be really weird to see him in full daylight.
Like he's legit just like out in the open in like a gravel pit, and I'm just like, okay, like he kind of works better if it's like a hallway and you just turn the corner and he's right there and you're just like
filling,
and then you stumble back, like the tree, kind of like on Dagobah. I think that's the perfect way to do horror with Vader, because he just like comes around the corner and you're just like freeze and shudder and fall backwards. And like, to me, that's like,
which you got a little bit of that here, but then it turns into that. And I think it wasn't a good fight because it wasn't meant to be, because Vader was just like, this is not fun. Like, he was just like, this is not what I've been dreaming of for 10 years. Like, I wanted a real fight. Like, you
felt that now he has that slow, strong style, which you guys played the old Jedi Academy games, but like there was like different styles, and obviously there's like this 7 or 9 actual lightsaber styles from canon. But like, this is the game just had like 3, and one was like fast, medium, and there was slow. But like the slow ones were really like powerful swings.
You're right.
You felt that in this episode. You felt like Vader's slower, but like just blocking him is you have to take twice the effort now, because he's augmented and he's super strong.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing too. His like lightsaber like form completely changed.
Yep.
You know, it used to be like Anakin and Obi-Wan were twins. You know, it was just like mirror moves the whole way through Revenge of the Sith. And now
he has to get his moves back.
Yeah.
Well, or he's got to get some new moves, because it's like he's facing a lightsaber combat form he's likely never seen before.
Right.
And,
he's got to learn the water dance all over again.
Oh yeah, he should just go back to Form 3 Taru, and keep it safe. Keep yourself safe. But maybe that's not enough, because Vader's so strong, so he's gonna have to do something.
I would love to see Obi-Wan switch to like a new offensive style mid-fight.
Qui-Gon's.
I feel like it's time to cut that. It's time to cut that helmet in half. And like, give me one for us who just want to see Jedi heroics again. Like,
yes, please.
You know what? No turning off your lightsaber and sort of bowing out. Like, I want Obi-Wan to go like just
ham.
Okay, this is where we're doing it. Let's do it. Yeah.
And do whatever he can to take out Vader. Obviously, won't.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's it. I mean, I don't know.
Might get it.
I can't believe we've only seen 3 episodes.
I can't believe we've seen half of the season in 5 days.
We've seen Star Wars history be made, in like the last week, and it's pretty amazing. Like, I haven't felt this way in a long time.
Agreed. I'm so on board.
It's amazing. That was such a good way to end. I'll just end instead of I'll save my stupid comment for next week. Yeah, this was so fun. I love talking to you guys. I love talking to people on Discord and anyone who wants to talk about Star Wars, because it's just a great series, and I love it. And there's so much to talk about in the series. So thank you everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week, where we'll get another Obi-Wan episode 4 on a Wednesday, which is wild. It seems like early Christmas every week. So we'll talk to you then. So as always, stay safe, and may the Force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorldNews on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you, and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.